Welcome back to Learning English with Lily. Today I'm interviewing one of my favourite people. His name is James Wilson and he's originally from South Africa. He's a little bit like a brother to me and we explain why in the video. Jamie, which is what I call him, has had a really interesting life. He's lived in lots of different places. He's seen and done lots of different things. So I hope this makes for a really fascinating video to watch. Jamie currently lives in Botswana and he is the marketing director of a company that provides unique safari experiences. He'll tell you more about that. So this is part one, where we talk about his early life and his move to the UK when he was 18 to come and stay with my family. Okay, vocabulary. First word, landlocked. It's an adjective. If a country is landlocked, it's completely surrounded by land. So, for example, Botswana is a landlocked country. The bush. Okay, well, a bush is a low plant with lots of small branches. But when we say the bush, so we use the definite article the, we're usually referring to an uncultivated area, usually covered with trees or shrubs, especially in areas of Africa, Australia, New Zealand, those kinds of places. Spending a night camping in the bush is a real adventure. I've done it many times. A delta is an area of low flat land where a river divides into different smaller rivers before then flowing into the sea. The Okavango Delta in Botswana, which we mention in the video, is home to an incredible variety of wild animals, including zebras, giraffes, elephants, and lions. If you give somebody the benefit of the doubt, you decide to believe that they're telling the truth, even if you think they might not be. Okay guys, get ready for my best Scottish accent. Billy, my partner, who's actually Scottish, tells me it's pretty bad. Samuel, why is there a packet of cigarettes in your jacket pocket?
Yeah, it's a funny story actually. I was walking home with Ollie and we stopped at the bridge to compare homework, and then there was some other guys there. I took off my jacket because it was really warm, and then when I came home I looked at my jacket and I was like, that is not my jacket.
So you're telling me that someone else came to the bridge, took off their jacket, and then took yours home because they're exactly the same jacket?
Yeah, that must have been what happened.
Son, you cannot expect me to give you the benefit of the doubt. Your name is on the bloody label.
Mum, Sam Jennings is actually a super common name.
Someone who is gallivanting around is off looking for amusement and entertainment. She's been off gallivanting around all summer when she ought to be looking for a job. To woo. This verb means to try and get the support of someone. So a shop can woo customers by selling items at half price. Woo can also mean to seek the affection or the love of someone. It's a little bit old-fashioned because typically men woo women. But times are changing. I wooed my boyfriend, so you know what? Women can woo. To stumble on, or upon, or across is a very useful phrasal verb which means to discover by chance. I took a different route on my way home and stumbled across a lovely little cafe I'd never seen before. Okay, enjoy part one. Okay, Jamie, welcome.
Thanks, Lil.
Good evening.
Evening to you.
This is the first evening video I've done, actually. All the others have been in the morning. It's a different vibe. Tell viewers where you're from, what you do, where you live.
My name is James Wilson. Lily and my God family call me Jamie. I think you guys are the only ones that call me Jamie, but I like it. I live in Botswana, which is neighboring country to South Africa in the south, Zimbabwe to the east, Namibia to the west, and Zambia to the north. It's a landlocked country, and I've been living here for the last 10 years, or just under 10 years. I work in the safari industry, so unfortunately I can't claim the whole bush guide ranger vibe. I'm a marketeer, but I love the bush. So we cater for international travelers that want to come on a really authentic African safari. So yeah, that's our life. And we live in a very small village called Maun, and it's essentially the gateway to the Okavango Delta. The Okavango Delta is an unbelievable, iconic place. It's the largest inland delta in the world. So it's a huge river which flows from Angola through Zambia and Namibia into Botswana. And it basically just disappears into the Kalahari Desert.
Okay, we're going to talk a little bit more about your job specifically a little bit later on. Okay, so first of all, I thought that we would just tell you guys about how Jamie and I know each other. We're basically family. We kind of grew up together. Our dads met at university in the 70s, must have been, right? And became great friends. So Jamie's dad is English, his mum is South African, and Jamie actually grew up in South Africa until the age of...
Just to throw it in there, don't forget I was born in Australia, just to add one weird element into it.
Sorry, he was born in Australia.
Man of the world, Lily, man of the world, come on.
Does that mean you get an Aussie passport?
Yeah, I operate on an Aussie and British passport, whichever's more convenient.
Of course he does. So born in Australia, moved to South Africa, aged 1 week. Now, how old were you when you went to South Africa?
I was 9 or 10.
Oh, okay. Right. Wow, I didn't realise that. So Aussie until you were 9 or 10, then to South Africa until you were 18, then to England to stay with my family, right?
Yeah, that's spot on.
My dad is Jamie's godfather, and Jamie's dad is my godfather. Jamie's dad was living in France. Jamie came to England. What was your initial plan? And then how long did you actually stay for, Jamie? Can you remember all those years back?
You know, in a country where there's a mass amount of unemployment, when you getting a job as a waiter or a job where you really need to get your hands dirty learning the trade, it's not so easy in South Africa. And most people that have a British passport or a foreign passport who live in South Africa will kind of use that opportunity to go abroad, just get international experience and see the world. And going to somewhere like the UK is sublime because it's a platform for the whole of Europe. Actually, my first day, I flew out of South Africa into Heathrow, and my father and your father picked me up. I was wearing flip-flops because I was coming straight from summer. I thought, well, I knew it was winter in the UK. So I was like, well, I've got a jersey. So I was wearing something like this. It was like -7 outside. It was frozen everywhere.
On. Not -7. You exaggerate. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say it was -2. How did you feel? Like, how did you feel as a young South African coming from a super warm climate, arriving in dreary, rainy England in winter? What was it like? Were you homesick?
No, I was super excited, Lils, to be honest with you. I had, before leaving South Africa, there were a few of us that were talking about going to the UK, and we were coming up with different ideas of where to go. And it was actually your dad who eventually said, no, look, Jamie must just come to our house and we'll help him find a job and get him settled in. So I'm really grateful because that really gave me the platform. And so when I got there, I was a bit overwhelmed, but then I had a lot of support.
So I was off gallivanting around and you got a job in a hospital.
Correct. Yeah. And a very nice hospital, actually. I was super excited to have a job, to get my hands dirty, to learn. And everything was a novelty. Just driving in England, being independent. Work-wise was also a bit of a challenge, though, because I had to go as a waiter and as a helper in the kitchen. And I didn't think it would be, I thought it would be quite easy, if I'm honest with you. But, when they tell you that you've got a bucket of potatoes this high to peel in half an hour, I'd never peeled a potato before, I swear to God.
What? You'd never peeled a potato before age 18?
My mother used to peel mangoes and feed mangoes to me.
Wow, he really did live a privileged existence back in South Africa.
I'm telling you, Lils. And you learn quickly because I was using a potato peeler and the chef was like, what the hell are you doing? Take a knife.
What, and you just go round like that?
Exactly like that. And my hands were sore and raw after that, but...
I've never used a knife to peel a potato.
First top tip of the day.
Top tip, peel a potato with a knife. So you got that job and then you were supposed to stay for a few months and then you stayed for 6 years. You were wooed by England. What happened?
I was wooed by Constantia Cottage, where you grew up. It is the best house. It was nice. I just felt like a part of the family. And I think your mother enjoyed cooking for me as much as I enjoyed eating her food.
She just loved Jamie was the son that my mum and dad never had and the brother that Letty and I never had. So my sister Letty is 7 years younger than me. So when Jamie arrived, I was 17, Letty was only 10. And I was just, from the age of about 15, I was always out and about. Then I went travelling for a year and then I went to uni, so I wasn't really there. So Jamie, I think, you were a great companion for Letty and he's so easygoing and Mum just loved having him and he was a good boy. That's what he was a good boy. He helped. Despite the fact that he'd never peeled a potato in his life, he helped around the house.
But you talk about culture shocks though, Lils. When I arrived, I couldn't believe how independent you were. You were still, a couple of years behind me, finishing school, off doing your own thing. And I literally just left school where we were wearing uniforms and so regimented. And suddenly this was our chance to break free. And there you and your mates were just free and wild already. It was
we were slight rebels. Let's not elaborate on that one. My parents learnt very early on that the less they tried to control me, the less I rebelled. So you worked at the hospital. How long did you work there for? And then what happened after that?
Wasn't that long, to be honest with you, Lils. Probably 6 or 7 months. And then I was like, I'm done. I've done my bits of work. I've really worked really hard. And then I really bummed around for an extensive period of time after that. I joined Dad in France. My dad had then retired and moved to the south of France. I lived like a 65-year-old retired Englishman, to be very honest with you. I woke up at 11, drank a beer at 12, painted a few shutters. And I think even my dad, after a few months of that, he was reading the newspaper and he spotted this volunteer course in South America and in the Amazon jungle. And sent in a letter, and long story short, 3 months after that, I was in Peru in the Amazon jungle and I did a year, or just under a year, living out there, which really got me into nature and wildlife and tourism. So I had the African wildlife in my blood from growing up in South Africa, but seeing the Amazon and learning so much about the biodiversity and the wildlife and nature, that was at the moment where I thought, I'm going to go into tourism and safari or wildlife tourism in some form or another. But I pulled my socks up and headed back to the UK to study.
So once you finished your tourism degree, what happened then?
So I just stumbled upon a travel agency in Bournemouth, and they sold trips to Australia. They were called Oz Travel. And I just walked in there and pulled out the old Aussie passport and said, I'm Australian. I've just finished a tourism degree. Would you like a new travel agent?
Oh, it was so good to catch up with Jamie. What a legend. Okay, part 2 will be coming soon. In the meantime, I'll be back with another language lesson, so make sure you watch out for that. Like, share, subscribe. I will see you all next Friday. Have a fab week. Bye.